What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream for you guys as Spurs got absolutely battered at the King Power, 4-1. I was up there yesterday and it was not happy viewing. Sim got lucky, didn't have
got
to
away with it.
got away with it. Didn't have to go to the game. But look, I mean, it was just shocking, wasn't it? We came out of the traps quite well, I felt. First 20 minutes, it looked like we came out with a bit of a point to prove. We were passing it nicely. We got that goal, albeit a bit of a scrappy goal at the back post with Bentancur off a corner. But then it just was a complete shit show after that. It went from bad to worst. We couldn't seem to fashion any sort of chances. Leicester were pummeling it on us. No Spurs player come out of that with any sort of glory. The management don't come out of it with any sort of glory whatsoever. And it was just a shit show. I mean, what else can you explain it as?
I think for many reasons it was a terrible, terrible day for Tottenham. As much as things had been turning over the past few weeks, we got some signings through the door, we got some clean sheets, beating Man City, Harry Kane breaking the record. It looked as though for all the world to see, Spurs were starting to turn it around. And then we came, let's be honest, down to a crashing halt yesterday. And it wasn't just the result and the performance as to why. There's other reasons why as well, and we'll get into those in a minute. But the day starts out, you look at the lineup, Porro starting, the new signings getting a run out. You're thinking, all right, this, we're going to finally see him in action. We start the game, we're flying out the traps. I think within a minute or so, we're pressing high. Bentancur has a chance. We're winning the ball in some good positions. You think, all right, Spurs are up for it today. We get a few early sighters on Ward's goal. We get a couple of chances from corners, and we end up taking the lead after 14 minutes, and everything seems rosy. Everything seems like it's going really well. 1-0 up, playing well. New signing is playing on the pitch, and then it just turned out of absolutely nowhere. Leicester equalised after about 5 minutes after we scored, which I thought was a really it was just obviously a great finish by Mendy, not taking away from the finish, but the corner comes out to Perisic, cleared off the line by Bentancur, it comes out to Mendy, and Perisic is going to close him down, and he just doesn't fully commit to closing him down. He kind of just stops halfway through and allows Mendy to get the shot off. It flies into the top corner and it's 1-1. All of a sudden Leicester have their tails up. Spurs don't react to the equaliser, and obviously they take the lead within a couple of minutes. So within 5-10 minutes of scoring, with 2-1 down, and it's almost as if we completely lost our composure after going 2-1 down. We kind of threw all caution to the wind at 2-1 down, trying to get back in the game. And it reminded me of a quote from Rodri last season when Man City were playing Aston Villa on the last day of the season. They were 2-0 down, I think, at half-time, and they had to win the league. And he said, Pep in the dressing room told them, you need to keep your composure, because sometimes you want to score the second goal before you score the first goal, and you're just trying so hard, you're going hell for leather to get back in the game, that you lose all composure and throw all caution to the wind and leave yourself exposed. And that's how I felt like Spurs were yesterday. At 2-1 down, it was like we were playing as if it was the last 10 minutes of a game, after with still plenty of time to go. You know what I mean? We were just chucking players forward after half an hour, leaving pretty much the back three to defend the whole goal. Mm-hmm. We were trying to, pretty much, I think, for the second, third and fourth goal, and probably the one that got ruled out for VAR, we're just caught so high up the pitch. We're relying on Dyer, Tanganga and Davis to doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to all the defensive work, and they just weren't up to it. They were not up to it yesterday, and they were exposed. Our front three couldn't hang on to the ball for love nor money. Sonny was taking a year to release the ball whenever he got it. Harry Kane was going completely bullied by Faust. They were pressing really hard on him, and he couldn't make it stick. He couldn't hang on to the ball. The few occasions he did hang on to the ball, we actually did sustain some decent openings. I remember he played a really good through ball to Perisic, who didn't make the most of a really good opportunity, and when he did make it stick, it was positive, but it was so few and far between. Kulusevski looked out of sorts. Bentancur and Højbjerg, Bentancur was alright, but Højbjerg was getting caught on the ball way too often. Porro and Perisic were getting skinned alive, especially Porro on down the wings, and Iheanacho was making a fool's work of our Eric Dyer, the centre back, and it turned into an absolute shit show. You think of the third goal, Eric Dyer is just backing off consistently, backing off when Iheanacho is closing in, doesn't close him down at one point. Iheanacho even has time to literally go towards goal, put his foot on the ball, and then swing his left foot back and finish into the far corner without one moment of Eric Dyer thinking, maybe I should put a foot in, maybe I should actually go and try and block the ball. And the fourth goal as well, Eric Dyer just lets him shoot, doesn't go engage him, doesn't try and block the shot. Maybe he's worried about being dribbled past, but at some point you got to stop the shot being coming through. And we were just absolutely destroyed in the transitions. That's something that should have been our strength.
Every single goal we conceded was a defensive shit show yesterday. And yeah, however good Leicester were yesterday, and I thought they were fairly good, but I didn't think they were as good as maybe some people are saying. It wasn't a 4-1 game, I don't think. And I think that it was a 4-1 game because of how horrific we were. That's fair enough. They completely deserved it. But I don't think they were that good, where if we would have put in a competent defensive display, I don't even think we lose this game. And let's bring up these pictures from the second and third goal. First one's the second goal. You see Tanganga and Davis there in their shape. And I don't know what Eric Dyer is doing.
I think he's doing what he was doing against Man City, trying to be aggressive, trying to come out of that back three. And I think that was instruction.
But it's like there's no one there for him to be up aggressive against.
That's the problem.
He's just there in no man's land.
Look,
a gaping hole in the middle of our defence.
Part of me is like, because this isn't like in build-up, so you got to remember, Davis has just played a pass into Kane there. Kane has lost the tackle to Faust. Faust is about to win the tackle, and that tackle then turns into a through ball into Iheanacho. So that is on the consequence of the transition. So one point is a bit unlucky that tackle goes right into Iheanacho's path, and then what happens is Tanganga on the far side there, he comes across to, because Iheanacho is pretty much through on goal at this point. Tanganga comes across. No one's tracking Maddison there. Porro's obviously not doing anything, or Højbjerg's in no man's land. But you got to remember, we've just had the ball, so we're in possession, and then the pass gets intercepted. Faust gets into Iheanacho, and then all of a sudden we're all at sea. But I think what Dyer is doing there is trying to do what he did against City. But yeah, he should be on Iheanacho. But again, you got to remember, we're not in a defensive phase of play here. We're not on the ball, so I have a bit of sympathy, but not much.
Not much at all, and especially for this next one. This is the third goal. I mean, where is the defence there? Where is the defence? Everyone. You've got Perisic out on the left-hand side there. You've got Ben Davis, I think that is tucked inside. Eric Dyer completely nowhere to be seen. Is that Porro or is that Tanganga?
I think if you move the image to the right a bit, I don't know if you can. I think Dyer's there really deep, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that the full image? Because I'm pretty sure, there we go. He's so deep he wasn't even in image. Yeah,
there we go. I mean, what is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. And this I have very much less sympathy for, because this is in a defensive phase of play when actually I believe Leicester had the ball a bit, and then Spurs were trying to get back in their shape. I do not know what Dyer is doing here. He's completely playing everyone so clearly onside, and then not only does he do that position, which is bad enough, and then the ball goes to Iheanacho and he just backs off until Iheanacho decides it's the perfect moment to shoot and put it in the corner. I thought his defending was shocking.
Made it so hard to defend against as well. Like, the ball was right there, ready for the taking. I mean, we had a conversation on the way in. If Romero's in that situation, we get that ball easy. Yeah,
either he gets the ball or he gets the foul. And you might argue, if he fouls in that situation, maybe it's a red card. But I think if you make a genuine attempt, unless it's like a really cynical foul, if you make a genuine attempt to get the ball, and then you end up bringing him down, I think you can get away with the yellow card in that situation. So I think that Dyer's defending was pretty shambolic. He's never been a great one-on-one defender, and that showed again yesterday. And I think yesterday, again, was proof in the pudding as to why I think Conte is so... what's the word? Not adamant is part of the word, but it's like insistent on playing like a deep line, not leaving space, not pressing too high. Because what happens there is when we leave that space, we get completely exposed. We don't have the defenders to deal with one-on-one situations. If we had a back three that was strong or fast, could deal with those situations, situations, it wouldn't be as much of a problem. You know, if we had like a brilliant defender in that situation who, you know, would be confident putting a tackle in or engaging rather than someone who just continually backs off. That's been, by the way, a problem with Dyer for a long time. His continual lack of engagement.
Turned his back as well yesterday at time. Perisic turned his back as well. I mean, these defenders are just not fit for purpose. You're looking at the starting lineup yesterday. Fraser Forster in goal, a back three of Tanganga, Davis, and Dyer. I mean, that's not a Premier League defence. Definitely not a Champions League defence trying to go for Champions League. I mean, this defence will look good in the Championship. That's about it. I mean, it's week in, week out. These defenders are making shocking errors. And
especially when you're trying to be, if you want to be more on the front foot, press higher up the pitch, be more offensive. You have to have a back three which you can trust that if you do get if there is a transition like there was with the second goal and the third goal, that you have to have a back three that you can trust to deal with those situations. Because if you're going to have wing backs, if we want to be in position to say, all right, Porro, Perisic, you really go for it, go really hard up the pitch, you can leave the back three to their devices, because if anything goes over the top, they can handle it. We don't have those defenders, so a lot of the time we've been playing a lot. I mean, our defense has been poor anyway, but a lot of the time people are looking at our defense season like, why are we so deep? Why are we always playing, a really deep defensive line? Why are we not, being more on the front foot, being more aggressive? I think yesterday was literally case in point. All the evidence was there yesterday as to why we can't throw caution to the wind, even against teams like Leicester, because when we do, and they have the attacking players to really expose our backline in one-on-one situations, as soon as they get it into those positions, we don't have the defenders to deal with that, to deal with any of those situations. And obviously I think Conte has a lot to blame as well. I think tactically we got done by Rodgers. I kind of predict. I'm not saying I completely predicted it, but I said if Dyer plays the way he did against Man City, against Leicester, I'm worried that what Man City do is play everything in front of you, whereas Leicester are much more likely to play that ball in behind and have those runs from Barnes from out to in and looking for those runs. And that's exactly what happened. Barnes was completely looking for that ball time after time. Iheanacho was playing it time after time. You had Maddison there as well. Maddison was also making those runs, and we got exposed, completely exposed with our defensive line. And I think Conte has to take a lot of responsibility for that. But as well, like I think he tried to be more aggressive yesterday. I think you saw that. He tried to be more on the front foot, and it worked for the first 15 minutes. But as soon as we gave Leicester any sort of encouragement, they exposed our back line for what it was, which was a shit show.
Yeah, they really did. And let's talk about the wing backs now in Perisic and Pedro Porro. Perisic, I mean, I think he's been really poor since the return of football after the World Cup, and yesterday was no different. His passing was completely atrocious yesterday. Defending was even worse. I mean, what is going on with Perisic at the moment? It seems like he can't get up and down the pitch anymore. He's not contributing to much going forward, and he's a liability at the back. I mean, what is going on with him at the moment?
I think from my point of view, Perisic yesterday, I was really angry with him for the first goal. I actually thought he started the game pretty well. Had that free kick, good save by Ward. He was taking some really good corners, which was causing Leicester a lot of problems. And then that first goal, I was furious with him because he kind of half attempts at a block and then doesn't fully commit to it, and it allows Mendy to get the shot away. I just don't understand. If you watch it again, like he literally is ready to engage Mendy and then just stops. I do not know why, for the life of me, why he stops in his tracks and doesn't fully commit to that block. That really infuriated me. You got to put your body on the line in these situations, and he didn't do it. Maybe he thought, his first 20 minutes he's probably not going to score if I let him shoot and stuff like that. I think he was very wrong. And then from then on, he had some really good opportunities actually on the left hand side to really hurt Leicester. There was one moment where one of the few times Harry Kane was able to make it stick. He played a really good through through ball to Perisic on the left-hand side. He had a lot of space to drive into the box and get a shot away or pick out opponent. Went for the shot and just dragged it wide, and in the end it was a really poor moment for him. And then I actually felt his crossing apart from his set pieces had a really off day with his crossing. Wasn't able to find anyone in a white shirt in the box. Defensively, I actually didn't think Tete was one of the ones exposing us. I think it was more on the other side. No. What's happened?
Bentancur news.
How long?
6 months apparently.
Oh my God. Oh. Breaking news. That is an absolute devastating news.
Well, if you thought it couldn't get bad, it couldn't get any worse as a Spurs fan. Apparently, a Tier 1 source is claiming that Bentancur's recovery will be at least 6 months. That's him out for start next season even. So what's 6 months from now? Where are we now? We're in February, March, April, May, June, July. He'll be back he'll miss the start of next season probably.
Well, maybe we'll do a separate headline after.
That's a killer. But anyway, back onto the game. That's Perisic. Let's talk about Pedro Porro now, making his debut, eagerly anticipated debut as well. And I can't remember a worse debut than that. Seriously, like defensively, all over the shop. Harvey Barnes gave him a lesson yesterday. Welcome to the Premier League, he told him. Defensively, he was all over the place. Harvey Barnes was beating him time and time again. Really had the beating of him all day long, really. Going forward, I thought there was a few flashes from Pedro Porro, nice few touches, nice few runs, but it's always going to be overshadowed by that defensive display, and he was literally all over the shop, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, start with the very, very limited positives that we saw from Porro. Because, look, it was his debut. He kind of, I wouldn't say got thrown in the deep end, but look, they gave him a start against Leicester in this game, which was a bit of a surprise considering Emerson's performance against Man City. And he did show some nice technical ability. I think he's clearly very decent on the ball. Didn't really get a good opportunity to run at anyone or put some crosses in the box. But I think he showed some good passing technique and a bit of good first touches and ability to link play decently. But what you have to say is it was the definition of kind of welcome to the Premier League kind of performance. Barnes gave him a lesson of what he's going to be up against in this league if you're not completely on it. I think he tried to be aggressive, but he got bullied a bit. When he went to press, Barnes was able to turn him. When he went strong in the challenge, it was weak. He kind of only half won the ball and ended up losing for a lot of 50-50s. There was one moment as well, there was a through ball which he tried to cut out with a sliding tackle and just completely mistimed it, and it ended up being another chance for Leicester. He wasn't able to really impact the game defensively whatsoever on that side. Barnes was just having a field day. Tanganga was getting no help from Porro as well. And going forward, he wasn't really able to make any sort of impact. A lot of it's to do with how well Leicester were playing down that side. Christensen and Barnes were linking up really well, so you've got to give them credit. But Porro was completely exposed for his lack of defensive ability, which is definitely the weakness we thought he would have when first coming when he first came.
I didn't think it was this bad.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a look. Clearly, he's going to have a lot of learning to do. If he's going to be, a success here. Obviously, I think it's his first game. It wasn't an easy game. I think it was a defensive shit show all round. It wasn't just him, but Barnes roasted him. There's no doubt about it. He was exposed.
Did we miss a trick a bit, maybe saving Porro's debut to play alongside Romero on that right-hand side? Because that would have helped him a lot, wouldn't it? Look,
I was surprised he started because I thought Emerson would have kept his place, considering his performance last week. But look, maybe, yeah, I would say it was probably throwing him in the deep end to prepare him with Tanganga, but maybe as well Conte thought that with Tanganga's strength and ability to sometimes dominate on that side, that he'd be able to do it and allow Porro to go forward. That didn't happen whatsoever. Tanganga had a poor game, and that meant whenever Porro was caught, we were completely exposed. But Porro, what I was really disappointed in was just his lack of strength in the challenge. A few times, it happened a number of times, where he went in for a tackle and just came off second best, and it really put us under pressure. So that was really disappointing from Porro. It was a really bad debut, I have to say. But look, It's only his first start. We'll have to wait and see how he develops. Look, coming from the Portuguese league where maybe he could have got away with some of those challenges that he did do in terms of how weak they were. I think he'll have a big learning curve as to what the Premier League is all about and how strong you have to be. And look, everything's a learning curve when you sign a new player. So I'm not going to say it's evidence he's going to be a failure here. It's all about having a bit of patience with him. I always thought it'd need a bit of patience anyway, but I didn't think it would be that bad the debut. To be fair,
I just couldn't believe from the stands how small he looked on that pitch yesterday. I couldn't believe it. He looked like the tiniest player on that pitch by far, and I know he wasn't, but for some reason he looked like that. He looked really weak, and I know Pedro Porro is a really good player, and I think he's going to be a success here, but that display yesterday was really, really shocking, and it really was like a welcome to the Premier League, and it reminded me a little bit of the Lisandro Martinez debut for Manchester United, where he got completely dominated in his first game or first few games there. So hopefully Porro can learn quickly, because look how Lisandro Martinez has turned it around. He's been one of the best performing centre-backs in the league this season. So you got to put your faith in Pedro Porro. I believe he's a top player, so I think he'll get to grips with things soon. But that game yesterday was really bad, really bad. In terms of the front line yesterday, I thought Kulusevski put in his worst display in a Spurs shirt. I thought Christensen completely dominated him on that side. Heung-min Son was back to the Heung-min Son before the Preston game, where he was just taking sloppy touches, hanging on the ball for way too long. And Harry Kane just couldn't get himself in the game enough. So, I mean, it was just a shocking display all round.
Yeah, I thought they started looking quite sharp at the beginning of the game, but once Faust and Suter started to settle in the game and really getting those strong challenges in, Kane was pretty weak whenever he was up against Faust. Every time Faust pressed him, he ended up losing it. As I said, Son was so frustrating on the ball, like he has been recently, or for the majority of the season. In those positions where you can't hang on to the ball, especially when you're like someone like Son, who's no disrespect to him, he's not the strongest player on the ball, upper body strength. It's not really his game to hold players off and stuff like that. He can't really bounce off players. Because what he does is he actually does something really frustrating, where he actually gets on the turn and then he opens up the space. You'll think, okay, now release it. And what he does, he just doesn't release it. He doesn't really hangs onto the ball for so long until he loses it. And I think players are targeting that. They're wise to it, and they know that if they just keep with him, they're going to have an opportunity to nick the ball. And every time it happens, and he hangs onto the ball way too long so often. And the flip side of that, like for example against Man City, it does sometimes create opportunities. Like remember in the first few minutes against Man City, where he just had his head down, he had the run, and he opened up an opportunity, and that's the benefit of it. But that happens few and far between. And when you have teams like Leicester who are going to be compact in the middle, he's going to lose the ball way more often than not, and it's becoming a massive detriment of our team right now. Either you have the upper body strength where you can hold players off, and then it's going to be hard for him to win the ball off you, or you have to release it really quickly and then make sure you're opening up the space. And at the moment, he's losing the ball. He's not doing either. And what's happening is he doesn't have the upper body strength. He's losing the ball way too often in those congested areas, and it's becoming a big liability for us, and it's putting us under pressure time after time. And there's no link-up play. When Son's the one starting the move, there's just no link-up play at the moment.
When the front line is that poor, how can they wait so long to make these attacking changes as they did yesterday? I mean, Richarlison and Danjuma came on with 15 minutes to go, just over 10 minutes to go, something like that. And it's like, we could see it from the stands, you could see it from the TVs, how we're calling out for attacking changes for so long. And they eventually make that triple change. Davinson Sanchez comes on, Emerson comes on, and Richarlison comes on, and Danjuma came on a bit later. It's just like, why wait so long? And when you do make the changes, why are you bringing on Davinson Sanchez? Why are you bringing on Emerson? I get that we needed to shore up that right-hand side potentially, but we needed to find goals from somewhere. And you ain't going to find goals bringing on Davinson Sanchez and Emerson.
Yeah, but he brought
Royale.
on Danjuma and Richarlison, didn't he?
Danjuma came on. Yeah, Richarlison came on 15 minutes ago. I think Danjuma came on, 5 minutes later, but it was too late by then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, game was done. It's a constant, it's a criticism which has been labelled at Conte throughout the whole season. Waits way too long to make his substitutions, and I completely agree. And that was a case in point yesterday. Should have made it way earlier, probably at half time.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably at half time. I would have made it. Kane, Son, Kulusevski weren't clicking. Bentancur, when did Bentancur get injured? Second half. He got injured second half, didn't he?
Yeah, second half.
So, I mean, I wouldn't have changed the middle two, but maybe I would have taken Tanganga off even at half time, or even Porro off potentially at half time. Really make a change, decisive change at that point. But he waited too long. Leicester, it seemed as like we were just waiting for Leicester to score that fourth goal in a way in that second half. And it was way too little too late when we did make the changes, and then the game was already done. It was 4-1. We weren't getting back in the game with 15 minutes to go at 4-1. So I completely agree. He waited way too long to make this change. It wasn't as if like he saw some encouragement on the team. There was nothing there to suggest like we were going to get back in that game without changing something. So I thought he got out tactics, and he waited too long to make the changes as well. So not a great day for Conte at all. And he didn't look 100% on the touchline as well. He really didn't.
Is understandable, to be fair. But look, you got to put the blame has to go on everyone yesterday. The management, the playing staff, every single person involved with that performance yesterday. It was nowhere near good enough from start to finish, from top to bottom. And when you're looking at the results around the Premier League yesterday, Arsenal dropping points, Newcastle dropping points, Chelsea dropping points, you know, all these teams dropping points around us, and then we go and lose, which makes it even more frustrating. And all these teams drop points around us, and they still gain points on us yesterday, which is so frustrating. Yeah,
you can look at it two ways. At least they didn't pull that much further clear. But yeah, it's definitely a missed opportunity, considering, you know, we're going to that game in high spirits. We should be informed going into that game, you know, especially defensively. Like, we were so poor defensively. But look, the game was awful. It was a real shit show. But I guess let's talk about what makes it so much worse now, is this news we're just sharing, and that's now after having one game with a fully fit squad, we're now in a position where we are kind of on our knees at the moment now, all of a sudden.
Especially in midfield. And midfield was looking like one of our strongest areas going into the second half of the season. If you bring up the next headline, Rodrigo Bentancur.
Breaking news, this is.
It is breaking news. Bentancur out for potentially 6 months. This morning, Rodrigo Bentancur had a knee MRI after the injury yesterday at Leicester. The recovery will be long, at least 6 months, and that's from a tier 1 source called Baisan.
I think he's a Uruguayan, is he?
Yeah, Uruguayan journalist. So look, it's not looking good. And when you're looking at this game specifically against Milan, you've got Bissouma out for a long-term injury, Bentancur out for the rest of the season, Højbjerg suspended. So we're going to have to go with Pape Matar and Ollie Skip in the middle of the park.
Look. We'll talk about Milan later, but just looking at where this leaves our season now with this app, let's not get it twisted. This is devastating news, absolutely devastating for our season. Bentancur has been by far and away our best midfielder. In my opinion, he's been one of the best centre mids in the league this season, especially over the past few months. He is so crucial to how we play. He's the only player, it seems, who's able to get the ball into feet and retain the ball and progress the ball up the pitch, off the ball as well. He is absolutely vital. He's irreplaceable in a way off the ball. His ability to cover ground, his ability to win tackles in the centre of the pitch, high up the pitch, in the centre of the pitch, even running back and covering the centre backs. I don't think we have another player who's got that ability to the level that he does. So with him now missing for 6 months, coupled with the fact that Bissouma's having surgery, so he's not going to be available for the foreseeable future as well. So if there was any kind of half positive of, there are no positives of Bentancur being injured, but if there's even maybe a silver cloud of, maybe we can finally integrate Bissouma and actually just give him a run of games to feel his way into the team, and him being that midfielder who we put a lot of trust in the beginning of the season, and giving him an opportunity to play his way into the team, that's now not a possibility because he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. So Højbjerg, I know he's suspended on Wednesday, but he's going to be heavily relied upon from now to the end of the season. We know what Højbjerg can look like when he doesn't have a partner next to him who can cover as much ground as he does, or can really help him out like Bentancur does. You see Højbjerg very often, his forms to start to slump a bit as well when he's not next to Bentancur. So it's going to be heavily relied upon Skip and Sarr from now to the end of the season. Two very young midfielders having a lot of responsibility on their shoulders in a very crucial area of the pitch where we're especially in the formation we play, it's so much responsibility on them to not be overrun and to cover a lot of ground. And whether they're up to it, it's going to be it's going to be a kind of a sink or swim kind of situation at the moment now for Sarr or Skip. No, sink or swim. These are very highly rated young players, and let's not shit on them just because they haven't been, like, Sarr's been all right, but Skip hasn't been great this season.
It's not about shitting on them, but can they do it week in, week out, every single game?
They're going to make mistakes.
2 games a week.
They're going to make mistakes
until the end of the season.
Probably not, but they're going to make mistakes. They're going to have to learn the ropes, but we're going to have to hope that at some point this season it starts to click for them.
A couple of games, but they're not going to swim all the way through till the end of the season, like Bentancur potentially would have.
It's devastating. No doubt about it.
It's the worst news we could have got. It really is. And when you're looking at the state of the squad now, earlier on in the season we had detrimental injuries to the front line, which really hurt us. Now we've got detrimental injuries to the midfield that's going to really hurt us. Our goalkeeper as well has got a really long-term injury, so God knows when he's going to be back. They're saying like 6 weeks or something like that. All it needs now is big injuries into our defence, and that's the trifecta, isn't it? And we have been so unlucky with injuries this season. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how this can keep happening consistently throughout the whole season. How unlucky can one team get?
Yeah, and this kind of injury as well is... that's not even like, you can put it down to anything other than bad luck. It's just a bad challenge from a Leicester player, and he's got a really serious knee injury now, Bentancur. And as well, these type of injuries, as bad as it is, like... you never know how if he's ever going to. Hopefully he does, but you see like people like Van Dijk, he's just not been the same ever since that injury. As much as he's been back to a decent level. He's not like finished, but he hasn't been as good as he was before that injury, Van Dijk. And hopefully Bentancur doesn't go that route. We wish him a speedy recovery.
Just got him back as well.
Yeah. We wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully he comes back and gets back to the level that he was, over the past few months, because he was playing at such a high level, and it was, and he scored as well yesterday. Adding more of those goal contributions, and he was playing so well. So to have this injury this time is just really puts us on our knees. It's a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. There's no two ways about it. And where we go from here with these long-term injuries, Basuma now injured, Lloris injured. Honestly, it's tough to think about a future this season where we have Skip and Sarr helping out Højbjerg to a consistent level, and thinking that we can actually achieve something that maybe last week you were thinking, there's still a lot to play for, but now I don't know. I honestly, it's hard to see something positive. The only positive I can see is it'll really help the development of Skip and Sarr, hopefully, over the next few months and maybe next season. This passage of play will really help them bed in and actually maybe become consistent or reliable performance for us next season, because then maybe hopefully they'll get this run of games now and get those mistakes out of the way and really learn the system and whatever. But right now,
by the way, on top of these injuries, someone's just reminded me Sessegnon as well out for 6 weeks.
Forgot about that.
That's another injury compounding, so that means Perisic is going to have to play every single game, and with the way he's playing at the moment, asking him to play even more games than when we were planning for him is a disaster waiting to happen as well.
And also, it just completely makes the Doherty contract completely laughable at this point. The fact that Sessegnon's out for 6 weeks, when we had a player like Doherty who's shown in the Spurs shirt he can play on the left hand side to a decent level if need be. And this is exactly the kind of situation you need someone like Doherty around to play on the left hand side to cover both positions. And it would have been all right if we would have just kept him, and he may not have been in the Champions League squad, but you can keep him just for the Premier League, have Perisic in the Champions League, and then you might be in an okay position. But right now, with Doherty, with his contract being cancelled, he's no longer an option. The Session now out for at least 6 weeks. We're relying pretty much on Perisic to play every game, or you might want to play Emerson there or something. And he's not going to be a good option going forward, at least. So that position as well is pretty much down to all of a sudden down to the bare bones. And if an injury to Perisic, all of a sudden, like, there's no one there to play in that position. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do. All of a sudden, it's like we were full bill of health. 1 week ago, we were full bill of health. And all of a sudden...
One game
it's just got... So, for me, as much as the result was terrible yesterday, and it was kind of like the result and the performance was kind of a big slap down to reality. What's really been a kick in the teeth, in my opinion, has been what's happened to our squad through injuries, and that really makes me worried. It's like we've gone from so much hope, full bill of health, keeping more clean sheets, defence getting back to somewhat normality, and it's kind of been like gone to shit pretty much within a game, and all of a sudden. You can't. I mean, I'm just looking at the bigger picture now. With all these players injured, going to second half of the season off the back of a terrible result as well, it's going to take some rallying and some. It's going to take a hell of a lot to pull ourselves back up from this position right now with this injury news. I don't know. I just have this terrible feeling that. The season is going to get from bad to worse, because who knows what injuries around the corner now, and it kind of feels like every game now it's like any more injuries to key positions right now, and we are just in the mud. And you could argue we're probably in the mud already with the centre mids, but any more injuries is like, I don't know where we go from here. And right now it's tough to think about, and it's worrying times, absolutely worrying times.
It's like we've all bemoaned the state of the squad since the summer, well, for forever, to be honest. But I'm talking about specifically this season. We all bemoaned the state of the squad, the lack of players on the bench and all that kind of stuff, and we've had all these injuries on top of that to contend with all season. I mean, how unlucky can Conte get? Because I feel like if we had our full squad with minimal injuries from the start of the season till now, we would be in a really good spot. And to be fair, we are in a fairly good spot right now with these injuries that we've had to contend with. Not too far outside the top four, in the latter stage of the FA Cup, got Champions League last 16 this week, and this is with the compounding injuries that we've had. So imagine if we had like a fully fit squad to pick out from this season. It wouldn't have been so bad. It's only so bad this season because of how many injuries that we've actually got. That's what's made this season so bad and so doom and gloom, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's to do with that. A lot of it's to do with, obviously, the way we're playing. But the injuries have definitely hurt us, especially at crucial times this season. That definitely hasn't helped.
Had to contend with it.
Yeah, and we had one game. We had one blissful game where everything was going well. That was the best game
of the season as well. Our best performance of the season.
Yeah, and now we're just... I don't know. It's tough to. It's really tough to think about where this leaves us. To be honest, this Bentancur injury just is so devastating. It really is. Yeah. It's hard to think now. Is there going to be like? It's hard to think how our midfield is going to cope. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I don't know.
It's going to be very, very, very difficult. But hopefully Mate Sarr or Skip is going to step up. But then on the flip side of that, Højbjerg is going to be asked to play every single game now, pretty much till the end of the season.
And as well, when he gets overplayed, how detrimental that can be for him as well.
Yeah. Very, very tough to take this Bentancur injury news. But that's the breaking news today. Bentancur out for potentially 6 months, which will take him out until August, which is a potential of... after the start of next season till he's back fully fit, so which is very, very hard to take. But let's start getting on some guests, and let's start off with Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa.
Hi there, guys. How
you keeping?
Well, until yesterday, I was really getting better.
Oh, man.
Since the last match, or the last time I was on, I was predicting we still had a chance of winning the league. We played. I said that we could mark nobody could we mark under a 7 in the City match. Yesterday, I can't mark other than the Højbjerg. I think I can't mark anybody above 4. It was
Yeah.
an appalling game in every respect.
Yeah.
What was the main difference? The main difference was Conte was back on the line.
But he was back on the line, but he wasn't really
He wasn't
himself.
motivated,
He wasn't
but
himself.
was
He
there.
wasn't screaming. He wasn't shouting.
No, he wasn't. No, but nevertheless, he was there, and his screaming and shouting is a little bit like bullying, and they're not free to play their own game, and that's the only difference I can see. Other than that, we were just appalling in every respect. On the
top
other
of that,
hand,
we didn't have Romero as well. Romero was a massive loss yesterday.
We didn't have Romero, but we did have the great new signing that we've got.
Yeah. What did you make out of him?
I thought he made 1 or 2 good moves, but generally speaking, he was really not fit to be playing.
Yeah.
He hadn't had enough time to actually get used to the team, and it was bad. I wouldn't have given him more than a 4.
Yeah.
I think the only person I could give anything to was Holbier.
Yeah.
And my God, we've got to rely on him now coming up.
Yeah, Grandpa, tell me what your reaction to that news that Bentancur now up to probably at least 6 months, they're saying, after an MRI scan, and how devastating is that, do you think?
I think it's very devastating. I think the only positive about it is one of the things you said earlier, is that it's going to give some of the new guys a chance to actually bed in. And might be good if we can get some more players new players for next season. We'll have the 2 teams that we really need, because we only need an injury like this, and we're totally suffocated. And everybody was saying we needed more purchases at Christmas, and we didn't get them. Had we got them, it might have been a bit better feeling for us. But I just love to be positive, but I'm sorry, I can't be positive at the moment. Only that we can get some of these new young players that we've got that have been playing well. And also, what's his name? Benjamin?
Danjuma.
Danjuma. Well, let's see what he's made of, and if he can help up front. And I mean, you must admit, there's a lot of strange results. I mean, this was one of the worst results, but everybody's not having good results. Arsenal, City, they've had bad results as well. Because
Isn't that what makes it even worse, though, Grandpa? Because it's a missed opportunity for us to close the gap.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, I thought, well, should I actually come on today if I've got nothing positive to say? I thought, yes, I better give support to the fact that we've got some good players around. If only they can be properly motivated to play like they played just a week ago. It's extraordinary. And is that down to bad management? Is that Conte's responsibility? Probably it is. I don't know, but I see you've got Brian Daigle coming on in a minute.
I'm sure he'll have something to say about it. But where does this leave us, Grandpa, going forward this season? Is it now with Bentancur out for pretty much end of the season? He's not going to be seen again this season. Looks like. Is that kind of season over for you now? Is it kind of just maybe getting the building blocks for next season, or do you think hopefully we can still salvage something with the players we got?
I think with so many other teams playing strangely and playing better, that we might actually still be able to salvage something, move forward a bit on the championship, and we might be able to end up not be lower than 6 or something like that. Because I think things have been working for us in terms of the players around us. I know you're right, Ben, that, there's a missed opportunity and we can all cry. But then they'll all be saying the same thing. And I think the league's changing. I mean, we're getting some very, very strange results and people playing so differently at different times. So, it's going to be interesting. And I think that if Conte stays, the only thing he can do is build up the younger people, get them to be playing, get them in more matches, and let's see them being a backup to the new players that we'll get the end, the next buy-in.
Let's hope so, Grandpa. Let's hope so. But
Let's get to a decision where at least we can be cheerful. Let's win at Milan. Let's win at
100%. I actually think we are going to win at Milan. I think we are. Ollie Skip and Pape Matasar, the two kids or youngsters, going to be in the midfield. So let's hope they can do the job for us, eh?
That's right. That's right. I think Holbear's not playing, though, is he?
No, he's suspended, yeah.
Suspended, which is the bad move. But look, all we can do is hope that we can get the right results going for us from the other teams, and that we can just stay steady. But I don't now think that we'll win the league.
Where are we going to finish then?
I think we'll be lucky to finish at 6th.
6th, bloody hell! You've gone from winning the league to lucky to be 6th in a week.
In 1 week. In 1 week. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And we all feel like that. I mean, we're all hopeful, weren't we, after that City game where every single player played well.
I know.
And then a week later, every single player, except I think Holbear, played bad.
Bipolar FC, that's what we are.
Yeah, something like that. You're right. Oh. Yeah, you're right.
Grandpa, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks for coming on today.
Okay, cheers.
See ya. Well, if Grandpa can't be positive, then who can be positive?
No one's left to be positive.
No one's
Grandpa
left.
can't be positive. He's like the last vestige of positivity.
Literally always is. Let's go to our next guest, KPV. You right, Carl?
Boy. Yeah, I'm fine. Just fuming.
Yeah, talk to me about your feelings from the game yesterday.
I'm going to say this, but I think Bentancur was our best player. I think he scored, adding to his goal tally. But other than that, shit game, and yeah, not great. Like it's the same happened last season. We beat City and then we go lose to Burnley. It's like win, lose all over again under Conte. Like,
do you think that the history will repeat itself now, though, and we'll go on a good run, or do you think these injuries are going to take their toll?
I hope we can go on a good one, but with these injuries, they'll probably take our toll, I think. But like, yeah, it's probably going to be the same again, like last season: win, lose. Then towards the end of the season, we won a good one. We kept keeping clean sheets, and yeah, those 3 were against Arsenal, Burnley, and Norwich. 3 clean sheets, and Romero wasn't even part of those 3. But like, hopefully he can be. But he's coming back for the Milan game, but Højbjerg isn't. And I've just said in the chat, can you put on a fan cam video that Bentancur is a big loss for us? Like 6 months, like seriously, man. 6 months, that's August. Like, we need some new players, midfielders, like, I don't know, Cam, wherever he plays. We need someone that can take over while he's out. Like, he's Lamella as well. Like, when Chelsea won the league under Conte, Lamella was out for that rest of the season, and he came back for the season C, got 100 points. And so, he's Eric Lamella 2.0.
Yeah, very frustrating, Carl. Any positives whatsoever to take from the game yesterday? Can you find one?
As I said, I think Bentancur was probably our best player only, and the rest was shit. Like, Kane didn't get on the score sheet again after breaking the record. Like, come on, man. I thought he was gonna break another record. Shearer's got 20 goals against Leeds. Kane would have broken that record. He would have scored at least 21 or something. It would have gone ahead of Shearer, but no, it didn't happen. But West Ham at home, we should be winning, and we will, because they're not doing great after yesterday, drawing with Graham Potter FC and Arsenal dropping points and Newcastle dropping points. So London clubs have dropped points, but not a good weekend, man. Last weekend was brilliant, but this weekend worse. But the weekend coming should be better. But Milan on Tuesday, yeah, so I'll be in a pub watching, but then we got West Ham. But Bentancur is a big loss for us. I am really gutted. Like, I think him and Højbjerg were our two best players before the World Cup. And yeah, I had his inform card on FIFA, but now he's out. Like, who's going to step up? Star and Skip? I don't know about that. Like, it now it's probably going to have to be Perisic playing every single game. Conte's going to ask. But Conte wasn't himself yesterday. He shouldn't have probably been on the touchline because he was probably still not feeling great. But people probably saying Stellini in. Stellini.
Yeah, with Conte back on the touchline, it didn't really help. But look, Carl, let's hope we can turn things around on Tuesday. It's good to see you, mate.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's find our positives this morning, isn't it? We'll see you soon.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm off, mate. Don't forget to put Bentancur the big loss for us on a fan cam video. Don't forget, okay? Laters.
See you, Carl.
KPV.
See ya, boys. Over and out.
A few super chats to get through. 2V says, I really don't understand why subs are not being used accordingly. Why is Dan Juma and Rishi on the bench? Son shouldn't be starting either. Hard to disagree with that. And Jaden says, Conte doesn't rotate the squad enough. And it's just like, with Son, the way he's been all season, why hasn't the squad been rotated when we've had the options there? Richarlison was brought in for 60 million. He's getting the Bergwijn treatment from last season. Dan Juma's come in, scored in his debut. Fine, he's only had a couple of games to play, so that's neither here nor there. But there are opportunities that Conte could do to rotate this squad, especially the front line, and he just doesn't do it. Why
yeah,
doesn't he do it?
I agree. I think he should be doing it a lot more. Well, to be fair, like going into this game, Son had a good game last game, so I'm not like I don't think it was like completely the wrong decision to play him against Leicester, but I do think throughout the season he's been guilty of lack of rotation when he has had the opportunity. I think Richarlison hasn't had any game time from the start apart from one game at home to Leicester in his favoured positions. I think that he's too often as well left way too late to bring him on to really affect the game. Only when the game's done do we pretty much turn to him, which is not fair on him in my opinion. I think he deserves better. And I think Conte has to take responsibility for that, for not rotating enough when he's had a good opportunity to, and it's been very frustrating. I think in key
changes as well.
In key positions he does, in positions like the fullbacks, he clearly doesn't have. He doesn't mind changing up. Centre backs, left centre back, he doesn't mind changing up. But when it comes to the front line, it's Kane, Son, Kulusevski when fit, and that's it. It seems. Yeah.
No budge, no leeway on that. No budging, no nothing. No matter how poorly you perform over a long stretch of time, you're going to play. That's the message he's sending at the moment, and it's very frustrating. But let's bring on our next guest, and it's Brian Daigle. Yes, Brian. How's it going, bro?
It's going okay. So it's going okay. How are you two?
Yeah, going through the motions. We spoke last night. I told you how I was raring to go to get into the studio today to deconstruct all this madness. So now it's your time to have your say. So you can start to deconstruct all this madness. So
as I said to you on the phone last night, Simeon, it's you, me, and Grandpa go last season, and we have one of the best away days ever.
Yeah.
Us three don't go. This four go, and look what happens. So
that's it. That's the everyone keeps saying, or a couple of people keep saying that the fans are the problem. There you go.
There you go. It needs to be me, Simeon, and Grandpa. Well, I mean, Eric Dyer. Let's start with him. Eric Dyer. I think he should go get a job being one of the guards outside Buckingham Palace, because all he does is frog march around places, take a few steps, stands back to attention, and then shouts at someone. That's all he does. He needs to work outside Buckingham Palace rather than the central defence. His performance.
I don't think he would work out outside Buckingham Palace, because you need to get your positioning right on point there.
Yeah, that's the point. In those little hubs, you'll be like
exactly.
to the left. But yeah,
he'll either be really far in front of it or really far behind it.
Yeah, and then people will just run behind him, won't they? Get into Buckingham Palace. Yeah, maybe it's not the right place for him. But yeah, it was just awful performance from him in the central defence. And like I said on the watch along yesterday, what I'm hating about this with players like him, and I am going to use Son in this because Son has been off the boil all season with a couple of glimpses that he's coming back, is At what point do you say this is unacceptable and there's accountability for your actions? And you're like, right, we can't continue with you doing this. We need to change this. Yes, there's no better players or anything, but what kind of message does that send out that you can just have shit games and then you can continue doing what you do?
What's the alternative option, Brian?
Mate, do you know what? I honestly, that I don't get paid £15 million a year to make those decisions. Listen,
his hands are tied behind his back, though, isn't it?
No, listen, mate, they are, and I'm really trying to stay away from where people think I'm going, because that's blatantly obvious. I don't need to regurgitate the same crap because it falls on deaf ears. So I'm trying to tackle this from another point. If you look at it, you can put Romero in the centre and try to Longley at the left, or and Sanchez on the right, or even people have been saying, and I'll get criticised for this, Emerson Royale might be worth a chart like a stab. Listen, it can't be worse than 4-1 at Leicester. It can't be a worse shambolic display than what we saw yesterday in defence. So mix it up. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Antonio Conte, one thing I will say about him, and I'm pissed off about it, is he should be nowhere near that touchline yesterday. Ilana, my wife, had that operation, and I know people that have had that operation. You're not better within 10 days. You might feel better, but your body, the cuts that you have around your chest, and everything like that, it takes a long time to recover, or longer than 10 days to recover. Even the commentators picked up saying he doesn't look like a full bill of health, and we all know that. But this is maybe where some of his stubbornness comes into play. I can understand why he did it, because he wanted to be with the team and running, but he has to look after his own health. If you don't look after yourself, how can you look after others? So I don't think he should have been anywhere near that touchline. Maybe he should have stayed in Italy for a bit, met the team in Milan, and then been there at the San Siro. So at least that would have done. The travelling as well after an operation. The injuries, mate. I have to say, with that 6 months and all the things that we're adding on for the injuries, have we added the Tottenham medical staff tax on that, or is that including the Tottenham medical staff tax?
I don't know what they've added onto that, but it's not.
He said it says at least 6 months as well. It doesn't say 6 months.
So in about 5.5 months, expect it's worse than we thought line to come out from this absolutely incapable medical team. This is something where I don't know how we haven't got a new medical team in, or we haven't had someone come in and say, right, what is going on with this medical team? Because I've not known a team like it. The injuries stack up, and we're given a timeline of when they'll be back, and they just aren't back on time. And when we do bring them back, we rush them back, and they pick up another injury. We brought in Danjuma, who myself, as I said, I wasn't impressed with him coming in, but I understand with Brian Hill leaving, we needed cover there, and we have Richarlison back to form. Why aren't we mixing it up? Kulusevski was awful, yes. Well, the front, listen, as much as we talk about the defence, the forward line were just as shocking. The midfield were just as shocking. There needs to be... What's the point of having this 25-man squad and not using it to what we've got? We've got these players in. Things aren't working. We need to freshen this up. We need to freshen this up and try other things. I understand with his stubbornness with the formation. This is his blueprint kind of thing. But you've got different personnel that we're being told that he wanted. So why isn't he using them? And what was it? What a 3-1, no substitutions, like the second half when it wasn't picking up. You've been asking people what's the positive yesterday. My positive, that it was only 4-1.
Yeah,
that could have been a hell of a lot more.
I mean, Harvey Barnes' first goal pretty much wasn't offside, though, was it?
Me and Athletic looked at it, we're like, he's on, and then you saw the red line, you're like, okay. Well, you saw, I watched Match of the Day yesterday, the amount of VAR mistakes, especially that Crystal Palace one, where they used the line on the wrong bloody person.
Yeah, VAR... They've just made a statement, the PGMOL, saying they've contacted Brighton and Arsenal to basically apologise about human error happening with VAR yesterday, and that both mistakes were due to human error on the linesman's part, and they'll have to have an internal investigation as to why that occurred on both occurrences. But yeah, VAR had an awful day yesterday.
Yeah, Even Chelsea, I was watching it with Sammy in the studio. That's a handball. It's a handball, clear as day. But VAR's become pathetic. It's redundant.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that one personally, but it was a terrible day. But look, tell me about. Obviously, we got that devastating news about Bentancur. Where does that leave us for you this season? And with Basuma as well out for the foreseeable future as well. At the moment, we don't know when he's going to be back. Højbjerg, we know, is out for midweek, so we know he's not going to be available. But in terms of the bigger picture now till the end of the season, what do you think? How do you think we play it?
So, do you know what? I had a lot of grief thrown my way, which obviously you guys know I get for how vocal I am about certain issues in chats and also on Twitter. And a lot of the stuff I got told was, oh, we're X amount of points off of third. We're in the next round of the Champions League. We're through to the next round of the FA Cup. Well, now, through no fault of our own, obviously injuries there. This quote has fallen flat on its face because, like Grandpa, I've said it all along that I don't think we're getting top four. Grandpa obviously was a little bit more optimistic, as he always is, the brilliant man himself. I've said I don't think we were going to get top four anyway, and this spending how we do, because we've got to get the opportunity or get the price right, is going to cost that man a hell of a lot of money, because Champions League football brings in a shed load of money which won't be coming to Tottenham next season. But if we'd spent the right money in the right places, would have been more consistently coming in year on year. The Bentancur injury itself, Simeon, is for me catastrophic. That guy is the heartbeat. And listen, Højbjerg does a hell of a lot, but we saw how important he was just before the World Cup and what he was bringing to his game and the levels he was going up. And Højbjerg ain't the same player without him. Højbjerg can put in the performances, but like Ben said, now we're asking that man to play every single minute of every single game that we have. And he's going to get burnt out. I don't know how he hasn't got burnt out already. I mean, you check his stats since he signed for us, and you find anyone in the Premier League that has played more games, including Europe, international, whatever, and minutes on the pitch, you won't find one. You simply won't find one. An outfield player I'm talking about. You won't find one. And then you look at, like you said, Basuma. And then now, even if we wanted to change it, now and play a 3-5-2, let's just say, so you play Højbjerg, Sarr, and Skip. One of them pick up an injury, we're screwed again. He can't even have that option now of saying, okay, let's go 3-5-2 and play all three central midfielders for risk of injury or risk of a red card. The midfield is screwed. The defence, I mean, Jesus Christ! I don't even know what we do there.
We are Session out for 6 weeks, so that's obviously for rotation purposes pretty damning as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it.
We've just got some info through, Brian. Apparently, our guy is saying that Bentancur's 8 months, not 6 months.
There you go. There's the Tottenham medical team tax. There we go. So listen, Ben, we were speaking about this yesterday, weren't we? When I was on the way home, and I said to you, I've been hearing that it's a long one. This is a major concern. And now you look at it, when we do come to the summer, and remember the summer, always the next window is the window we address things. We were going to buy 2 central defenders that we desperately needed, apparently only in the summer. Well, Bentancur, that injury is going to take time. We're going to need cover for him. God knows how long.
October return.
There you go. So we're going to need a midfield cover. We're going to need a new goalkeeper. We're going to need, God knows, and let's be serious, if we don't get Champions League, which I don't think we will, does Conte stay? Does Harry Kane stay? Then you got to look, mate, this summer that was about to be the window is the list is getting higher on places and things that we need to get our ducks in a row, and it always happens. It always happens. What can we say? What can we do? This is the state we're in. But this squad simply isn't good enough, is it? It simply is nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, and another thing that he's messaged us today, he says Levy is at the training ground today, and he never usually is on a Sunday, especially. Something is not right here.
All right, guys, I'll see you later. I'm off. Let's listen. I know he goes to the training ground a lot. I've obviously been there when he's been there, outside with him inside. There's something going. Listen, I think we all know. We could see yesterday when we were doing the watch along, me and Ashmatic, that in the comments during the live watch along, there was a whole thing at one point where people were either saying Levy out or Conte out or both, or saying Levy out, Conte in, or Conte out, Levy in, whatever it may be. There is something not right, and you could see. I go back to Conte yesterday with his health and recuperation from that operation. He just didn't look right. We've got to remember as well, this guy is, which is no excuse. He's lost. We all know he's had a couple of losses which have affected him deeply. We don't know what's going on in his personal life. His family are all in. It's not good. There is stuff going on. I don't know if that's Levy coming in because he wants to speak with Conte, or Conte's demanded he comes in to talk to. Who knows? But all I do know is Nathan Jones is now available because he's been sacked from Southampton, and we let's hope the worst doesn't happen. But yeah, this Conte being at the training ground. I mean, Levy being at the training ground on a Sunday, and if your guy's saying he's never there on a Sunday, I don't know what do you guys make of it? Do you reckon this is we might be having news about Conte? Well, actually, do you know what, Ben? The last time we know about this is you and me were in that studio with Nuno.
Yeah. Look, I don't know what it means. Maybe it means that we're bringing in a centre midfield free agent. Isco's available. Fancy him?
Mate, who knows? At the moment, talking about it, and Ben, we spoke about it last night. I was one of the guys that were getting fed up with Hugo.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to see Foster.
And now you're fed up with Foster and want to see Hugo.
Well, it's not even that now. You look at it, you're talking about Isco. Are they talking about an emergency goalkeeper?
Probably not at this point. Probably not.
I mean,
who are you going to get? Ben Foster, bring him out of retirement.
Oh, that'd just be brilliant, isn't it? We're after Bruno Fernandes and Gedson Fernandes, we'll have Forster, and then we'll go get Foster. It's just what happens at this club. Only at this club. We bought a 35-year-old in to replace a 33 or 34-year-old, and now we're bringing a 40-year-old to replace a 35-year-old. It's fantastic. I mean, this club, but obviously I don't think things are all right at Tottenham Hotspur. What you've just said about Levy being there has worried me a little bit.
I reckon he's probably just there maybe because Bentancur's getting the news and stuff, and it's such a big news. He might be wanted to be in the training ground for there. I don't know what's going on.
So you could say, listen, we'll attack the midfielders next season.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't even think Daniel Levy gives a.
He just wants to be there. He just wants to be there to stroke his hair and tell him everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, and say, listen, because you're not playing, we need to refer to the small print on your contract, which says I only pay you 35% of your wages or something. That's the kind of news he's probably delivering. But yeah, it's not the best news we wanted to hear, is it? That he's at the training ground. Maybe he's taking training.
Maybe
he's taking training. Who knows?
Well, I'm sure all will be revealed at some point. But Brian, thanks for coming on today, my friend, and we shall speak to you soon.
We shall speak very soon, guys. And as always, Levy out.
All right, big up, Daigle. Let's go for a few super chats before we get on our next guest. Christopher B says, start Rishi and Kane up top, Kulu behind as a cam. Mattis Max says, Stellini should be our head coach. I don't know anymore, man. This football club, man, is going to be the end of all of us. It really is. It's going to be the end of all of us. Let's bring on our next guest. Another one that had to sit in the trenches here for hours upon end, watching that calamity on the football pitch, speaking to the fans after the game, and that is Ashmatic. Ash, how you doing, man?
Oh, well, my head's hurting, man.
Can we just start this again? Can you start this on mute so we can start like normal, please?
Oh, hold on.
I'm joking.
Listen, we are Mud Butt FC. Mud Butt, thumb in the butt FC. That's what we are. We're so in the mud. It's so high up. It's in our ankles. It's going past our ankles, in our knees. We can't even move. Might as well call it cement. Like, we're just so much in trouble. I'll talk about Dyer first. Because it's the obvious.
Yeah, how long you got? I mean, we could sit here and talk 10 hours about just the defensive mistakes he made yesterday.
Look, if you're gonna stand off, because that's what he was doing. His approach was to stand off. If you're gonna stand off as a defender, block the shot. That's all. If you're gonna stand off, if you're not gonna go and engage, because I don't understand how the last game was ultra aggressive. We're trying to intercept. We're doing man-to-man marking, and then we've done completely the opposite. And it's almost like we haven't respected Leicester. And we said, yeah, we know Maddison's dangerous, but we're going to let him wander free and dictate the game. Because that's literally what Maddison was doing. He had free reign. No one was picking him up. And he was coming in deep when he wanted. He was pulling wide when he wanted. He came in central. He turned into a striker when he wanted. And no one knew what to do. Literally, we didn't know how to handle and how to address Maddison. And I thought we would have approached it different because we had a whole week to prepare and set up tactically what we're going to do about your Maddisons, your Iniachos. But we just kind of left it. Like last week, we had obviously Romero. Romero's super aggressive, and he stuck to Haaland like glue. Then you had Dyer following Silva. Silva was that playmaker, that guy that was threading the balls, etc., and playing in between defense and attack. But it's almost like we just been that plan, and I just wasn't sure what the actual approach was because, all right, if you're going to go zonal or if you're going to be tactically like in a line, because I thought what Dyer would do is you look at his centre-backs and say, look, we're going to push up together and squeeze the pitch. So if they try to go direct, unlike City who don't go direct, if we squeeze the pitch and make it really super tight, then at least Iniacho will be offside. But I know, like, in isolation, when that ball was played by Ben Davies and Dyer pushed up and then Tanganga didn't run out as well, you can't really isolate Dyer for that and say, look. But the other goals, I was expecting a bit of more cohesion in defence because if your defensive midfielders aren't helping the back three out, and the back three as well, like that picture I sent in with Dyer, Davies and Tanganga was the same three that we had in 2019. So for me, that is scary. That should be the reason why Levy is turned up thinking, oh my goodness, someone should have WhatsApped him that and thought, oh my goodness, I better turn up and I better sort out the centre-backs and get an emergency centre-back in or something. Because that's
nothing you can do. The window's closed. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know, but he should be on his knees. Sorry, Conte. It was my fault. Do you know what I mean? Sucking him off. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just terrible. It's terrible. But that was what my biggest problem was. It was either if we're not going to engage, because last time you engaged, you pressed, you were intercepting, because literally what happened to Kane with their centre backs is what we should have been doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Kane got pressed out the game, got marked out the game. He got beat to the ball several times. And I can't say the same about Iniacho. I can't say like we were first to the ball when it came to Iniacho. Whose responsibility was Iniacho? Whose responsibility was Maddison? Whose responsibility was Harvey Barnes? And Christensen pushed up so high, and he was causing us so much problems, arriving late. And it's like they had 4 men in attack, and they just put one ball through the middle of our midfield, and it just split. It just wiped out the whole of our team when they were just doing one pass through balls, and we just didn't know what to do. It's like almost like we didn't have a midfield in that game.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
They bypassed our midfield so easily, didn't they? With just one pass.
And that's why I thought we would have squeezed up the pitch. If that's going to happen, squeeze up, make the pitch narrow so that doesn't happen. Because what they were doing was congesting the midfield with Maddison, and then Mendy was helping through as well. Where Mendy would pass it through to Maddison, or Dewsbury Hall will pass it to Maddison, and then it would just be like, yeah, it just be like a marriage in paradise. But yeah, I just thought tactically, I thought Conte got done on that one. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he did get done.
Yeah, completely. But I thought tactically, yeah,
defensively we were poor.
But like, for example, that position where for the third goal with Dyer, if you have like a good centre back who's willing to engage, like that, they don't get a shot off or something happens there. Issue. But you know what I mean? It's just terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't assertive. He's backing off. He didn't want to engage in a fight at all. He didn't want to be a defender. And I know you mentioned it earlier with Perisic. Perisic wasn't. It's defensive. Like, if you're going to defend, you need to be aggressive. You need to be up front. You need to be able to block the shots. Don't like be a pussy and stand off and be like, oh, Because if he closed down in that first goal, I'm not saying like he could have stopped that first goal, but put the man off. You know he's going to want to shoot. Put him off. Run up to him. He's kind of half-heartedly come up to him, and then he's kind of backed off. He's kind of thought, actually, you know what? I don't want the ball in my face. So he's gone down. He's stooped down and gone down on one knee like he's about to propose, and then it's gone top corner. And then Fraser, no Niles. Oh my days, he just can't get down quick enough. Bless him.
It's terrible,
he
isn't
just
it?
can't get down. He just can't get down.
All you need to do is shoot either side of him low and hard. That's all you need to do to score against him.
Literally. They figured it out. Like, Barnes figured it out. He's like, raw, okay, that goal didn't count. Watch this. And then he went to the right-hand side, and he just tapped it in like it was like a golf cue. Like, he just, it looks like it was in slow motion. I was like, how did he get beat from there? He's in the right position.
And as well, like Iheanacho, like he had pretty much no backlift for that goal. As much as like Dyer should have blocked it, no backlift. He just caressed it into the corner.
But it was wild. I was watching it, and I was like, because it was happening in real time, I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to say, what to do. I was lost. I just thought, wow, what is going on here? But like, we literally had no cohesion in defense. Even when Sanchez came on, even back to Disco Dave, because he was spinning like Saturday Night Live, Night Fever. Yeah, he wasn't good when he came on. He was just giving the ball away constantly when he came on. So it's like people like, yeah, I don't understand why Tanganga started. Sanchez should have started, but Sanchez came on and he was shocking. So
Bambi on
just
ice,
that,
man.
that whole Bambi on ice. That's what I was looking for. That's what he was, literally. So I just think they just got it wrong in all departments. That whole wing back, the whole back five, just could have gone in a bit. For me personally, I just thought, each one of them all made mistakes. And then the midfielders.
Tell me about the new signing Porro as well. You haven't mentioned him. What did you make of his debut?
What I said. The whole back line, Porro it was horrible to watch, wasn't it? Because it was like a mismatch in physicality and size. And now you know why Conte says, I like big players. Like, I like physical players. I like strong players. Because it just looked like Barnes was just taking him to school. Like, he's like, yeah, come on, son. Yeah, here you go. I'm going to show you how to play football. And he was coming inside him. He was going outside him. Christensen, when he was ready, he ran down the other side of him and he was just getting spun. Literally, he got spun. Michael Jackson, he got spun. So, yeah, man, it was just... But Porro did one good thing going forward that I did see when he did assist Kulu. Kulu's touch was a bit off and he couldn't get his shot off. So that was one thing I would say, because the cutback was good. Normally, like with Perisic, every time Perisic got in that like dangerous area, he just floats the ball. He doesn't want to cut it back. He doesn't want to come inside because he had so much space. I don't know if Porro had those opportunities that Perisic had. I think Porro would have done a lot better because Perisic was quite wasteful with the chances that he had. And if you're not going to be good defensively, at least be good attackingly. But I just don't think Porro had much chances going forwards at all. Especially in the second half, I didn't really see him at all. Like I don't think he knew where to be on the pitch as well himself. I don't know if he knew whether he should push high up or he should stay back. And I looked at his position overall, and he was pretty. Like Perisic was the one that was furthest forward. He was the one that kind of sat back, a bit like what Emerson does. So I don't know if that was an instruction that he was told that he has to sit back in that position. So it'll be interesting to see in the next few games whether he stays in that position if he stays deep, or if they allow him to push higher up, and then I don't know, whoever's on the left hand side tucks in a bit more, or drops back into that back three or back four, when we do advance up the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Ash, tell me your reaction then to the news coming out this morning about Bentancur. We're hearing 8 months out, so that pretty much rules him out for the rest of the season, considering how important he is to our team. Let me just give me your reaction to the news.
Do you remember life before Bentancur?
No, I don't. I don't want to remember life before Bentancur. Oh man!
We did get to the Champions League final with Winks and Sissoko in the middle.
Does Winks have a recall on his Sampdoria loan? Hello.
Listen. Look, the only positivity I can say here is it's nothing positive. I'm just. Listen. Well, I'm gonna say it anyway. I'll get done for this. But listen, I'm gonna say it anyway. When Skip came on against Preston. He did a little flick over. Hey, he was looking like he was back. He's looking at the old skip from last season. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was like, rah, I want to see that skip. But you just don't know, innit? Because this season he's been poor. He hasn't been the same skip. He hasn't been the same engine. And tactically, he's been a bit all over the place, I feel. He hasn't really taken up a good spot. And Sarr as well. Sarr's looked good to me, but I'm just not sure if he knows where he needs to be on the pitch at times. Sometimes he can be at fault for some goals. Like, I just feel like positionally, he just needs to learn that role a bit more. But obviously, Sarr is good off the ball, and on the ball, he's confident. He can switch the play. He's got long legs like a gazelle. Like, he got up and down. So that's the positive thing I'll say about both of them. I just need both of them in Milan, super energetic, super aggressive, hardworking, and just play for the badge. Literally, that's all I want. That's all I want. Even if they make mistakes, just get back, help your defense out, get up and down. They're both technically box to box. They could potentially both be box to box midfielders because they've got the legs, they've got the engine. I'm not sure about the attacking prowess of them, but I'm just saying they can help get forward and they can help get them back because they've just got the ages on their side. You know what I mean? They've got a mobility about them as well in their profile player. But yeah, Bentancur is a massive loss. I would like to see the statistics, how many games we've won with him and how many games we've lost without him, and see what that stat says. But
you can't really overestimate how important he is, can you? Like he's like one of the only midfielders in our team who's able to take it on the half turn, be a bit press resistant, but also have that off the ball quality as well. And I don't see anyone else in the squad who's able to do it as well as he is.
And the thing is as well, it's his interceptions, it's his tackling as well. He's the best tackler. Between him and Romero, they're our two best tacklers in our squad. So that is a massive miss because you want someone that can win the ball back in midfield and then give it to your front three. Do you know what I mean? It's not always that you want, because what we had a problem with in this game against Leicester, we were too quick to give it into the front three. Sometimes we need to be a bit more composed, hold on to the ball, and then build the attack a little bit slower to draw the opposition into us and then hit them. So Kane had a bit more space or Son had a bit more space on the ball. But because we were trying to get it into them so quickly from defense straight into attack, they knew that and they were like triggering. They were doing triggering presses. So they knew when to press, and then we're out of position and then they're able just to cut us open. So I just like to see a little bit more, just a bit more tactfulness, like in our build-up play sometimes. Not always gun-ho and try and force a game. We need to be composed when we're losing, do you know what I mean? Sometimes build it up a little bit slow, then go fast, do you know what I'm saying? Not always fast, because then we become predictable. And then also, we lose the ball because our first touch might be off, or our decision-making is off because it's coming into us too fast. Like you said with Son he's not like, you see Maddison could do one touch, give it to his player and run on, and then sometimes Maddison could just dribble in. Do you know what I mean? He's not always like trying to dribble. He knows when to come and engage, he knows when not to. Do you know what I'm saying? Where Son, he's like one trick pony, and I think a lot of teams have kind of caught on to that, and that's the reason why he has lost the ball a lot this season, and that is why his confidence has dipped for that reason, because he hasn't got anything else to show for it. And tactically, if Conte can see that and he can see Son struggling, I think he should take him off, and then afterwards they just sit down and have a video and say, look, this is why you lost the ball. This is why you keep losing the ball.
Yeah, it's amazing how they haven't had that discussion. It just seems as though he does the same thing every time. He loses the ball every time, and it's like he hasn't learned that sometimes you just need to give it quickly. He never does. I can't remember that any time that he actually just gives the ball quickly to a man in space in a better position, and he just always goes for the dribble every single time. I guess also another problem with Son is when he does pass it, he's not the best passer as well. He can be a bit imprecise passing. So it's like, I don't know, in those when he's like in those central deep positions, it's not where you want Son.
No, it's not. And Kulu hasn't been sticking to him either. It hasn't been like, normally he's the physical one. That's his attributes. And normally you can stick it into Kulu. He can hold it up. He will either spin or he'll take a touch and then pass off and then link the play with the people that surround him. And for some reason, that's not been happening. And sometimes you just have to admit when you're a manager, like, right, it's just not working. It's just not working. Change the personnel, because they might have done their homework on them. Because sometimes in the game when it's early and like it's just not working, sometimes you're like, all right, they figure this out. Let's get some new people in, new ideas. They might not take a touch. They might be able to take a touch, but put it into space, and then that might just switch things up a little bit. And even in defense, like that communication, like they should have addressed that. Say, look, we need to move as a unit more. We're not moving as a unit. We're a bit all over. The distances between defense and midfield, they're too big. They're too wide. We need to play a little bit closer. We need to make the pitch a bit smaller. Right now, they're having a lot of joy in the middle. Let's kind of compress that. Let's be alert to that. But it's like, I don't know if they've just given up at half time. Like, I don't know. Because obviously, I can't expect Conte to give him a hairdryer because he's not too well. But then the coaching staff, I expect them to have the energy and say, look, guys, this is what we need to do. Like, and have the videos ready. Well, they should be going through the videos right now. There should be no days off. They should be like looking at players and say, look, this is where we went wrong. This needs to happen. This needs to change. After that performance at Man City and we went super tight, man each, it's like we went back to zonal. We stood off them. We gave them space. We allowed them to play, and we showed them way too much respect. And we didn't show them respect. Sorry, we didn't show them respect, and that's why they were able to hurt us. And I knew that they had Madison, Iniacho, and Barnes all on one side, and Christensen all on one side, and then like you said, Tete didn't really affect the game because he didn't really need to. Do you know what I mean? All of the other players were just pushing up and causing us players, and they were interchanging. They weren't even just staying on one side. One will come in, one will come, and I wanted that for Spurs. I didn't want us to be so rigid. I want us to be interchangeable. Sometimes find Kane on the left, Son out to the right, Kulu in the middle, switching around. Do you know what I'm saying? So it keeps opposition guessing. But where we're so rigid in the way we set up sometimes, I think they just did their homework and they were able to like just clamp down on us, win that ball, win those second balls, and then just play it into their front three and then just switch it up. But yeah, that's it really.
Nice one, Ash. Good
Big
to
up,
see you,
Ash.
mate.
Always good
Love.
to chat to you, bro. We'll speak to you in a bit.
Yeah. In a bit.
What's up, bro?
All right, let's keep going. And next up is Elias, Step Up Spurs. How you doing, Elias?
We definitely need to step up, don't we?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, we didn't step up last time. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I mean, trying not to focus too much on the result last night. It was horrible. I mean, I was just sharing with the friends this morning. Yeah, what the heck was that seriously like? And I think if I'm not too sure if many of us have realized, but that one game or what happened last night, it has long-term consequences on the rest of the season. Like the
Elias, can I just pause you there for a second because your audio is quite low. Is there any way?
Let me increase my gain a bit. Is it better now?
Oh,
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that, like, really, what the heck just happened last night? It's horrible in many ways, and I think maybe we don't realize that the long-term consequences of the game last night are massive. Like, you have Bentancur out, and it's going to ruin the rest of the season. And I've been seeing some really funny tweets these days on the Twitter. One of them is that, yeah, it's all Conte's fault and you should put in Stellini and stuff like that. That kind of pissed me off a little bit because, again, Stellini is like Conte's assistant, and then you want him to take over his job and stuff like that. Even Stellini is trained by Conte. You can't put up with Conte's tactics. Would you be even able to trust someone like Stellini on a longer run? So it's pretty bad, really. What has happened last night? Seriously.
Yeah, and what do you think of this Bentancur injury now? He's out for the rest of the season. What looks like rest of the season, and then some. How will this affect our season? Do you think the wheels are going to completely come off now, or can we make something out of it with the players that we do have? Skip, Sarr, Bissouma, much later on in the season.
I think the confidence that I had going into some of the games that we had this month is absolutely shattered just because of that Bentancur injury. I was a little bit confident about, like, let's say now you have the whole squad fit and some of the fixtures were kind of relatively easier compared to the ones we're having later on in the year. I was a bit confident, like, okay, we would be able to do well. But now this Bentancur injury, you don't have Højbjerg, by the way, for the Champions League game.
Yeah.
Sar and Skip in the midfield is going to be a disaster. I mean, they are youngsters and they can't. I don't think they can rise up to that level of the game. Although yes, AC Milan has been having their issues and they are also quite bad in terms of their midfield and in terms of their lineup. But definitely Sar and Skip trying to play against that midfield is gonna be tough. And I think that's where now AC Milan can capitalize. They would try to dominate us in the midfield. And sometimes they do play 4-3-3 or 3-5-2 as well, given that now their forwards are also not doing well. So it's going to be a concern. And I think again the issue comes back here is why didn't we address the squad depth in January? Why didn't we buy center back? And not just that, why didn't we buy a midfielder when we knew that Bissouma is not doing well? Sar and Skip are just youngsters. Why didn't we address that there? Because on a longer run, it's bad. Seriously, like when we say that, okay, some people were saying that, okay, the starting 11 issues have been addressed, but even the starting 11 issue, we have only addressed the right wing back issue. The center back issue is still there. Even the midfielders, I think the only two midfielders you can rely on are Højbjerg and Bentancur. After that, Bissouma has been bang average this year for us, and you have nobody else. And why didn't we address those issues in January? We are going to realize that now for the rest of the season. And even now, some people say that, okay, January is not the window where you can actually address all the squad issues. Sometimes you need to take window by window. But that's where now I think we realize that when you don't address the issues at the time itself, they cost you on a longer run because your players would get injured, some players would get older, some players are going to move out, they are just going to lack motivation, and then you just can't solve the issues window by window. You need to solve every issue in every window, and that's where I think we are going to struggle. Let's just say that we actually bought a squad in summer to finish top four, but even that's not good enough. Like when you have your competitors trying to battle it out for the title and you are just ambitious enough to go for top four, you're going to fall behind definitely. If you are just aiming for the top four spot and the rest of the clubs are aiming for the top spot, you're going to fall behind definitely. And that's what I think we will see this season. I don't think we would get top four now, given what has happened. This Bentancur injury is going to cost us badly. Even if we can, I think, go for Europa League, that would be a surprise for me, seriously. And
Wow.
again, it's the board that has to take the blame, um, because they should have addressed these issues in the January window.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see how Spurs move forward with this devastating news. But it's not just him. It's Basuma out for 2 months. Sesson out for 6
Sessegnon
weeks.
out.
6 weeks. Lloris out for. Lloris is going to be out for a few weeks as well. 6-7 weeks. I don't know how our squad is going to cope. But after one game, we had, we had our full team, and all of a sudden, that's it. Now we have no one.
I mean, definitely Conte would have to try to be a bit more pragmatic in some of his choices, like try, let's say, players like Denjuma or Kulusevski. But again, if it not work out, he's gonna get that blame again, because those things are just like, that's just a pragmatic approach with a bit of risk. If that doesn't work out, he's gonna get that blame again, and that's not fair to him. I feel again, because he just doesn't have anybody to replace the problems or to address the issues that the current squad has. So, but I think he would try to be a bit more pragmatic with some of his choices. Still, knowing him, uh, but seriously, I don't think that it would be enough to last us a season unless a miracle happens. Uh, if if really something saves us or some other teams get issues with their squad, some luck happens, only that can save our season even. But I'm pretty disappointed after what has happened over the last 2 weeks. And the other one, I think, those people who wanted Hugo Lloris to be replaced with Foster, I think there you have it. What do you make of Foster's performance? I would like to ask now, because
Not
Foster
good.
didn't have a good performance. He was like bad. That's why I think we need to understand that why a manager like Conte plays players like Dyer, Lloris, and all these players, because they are the best choices that he has in this squad. Some people were lately saying that, okay, you can try Tanganga there, you can try Sanchez there. They are not good players. But so what Conte is trying to put up is his best choice in the squad. and that's the best he can do. Like even Lloris there, he was still better than the Foster. Like some of the misses that Foster had yesterday, he only made 2 saves in the entire game. Just 2 saves for a goalkeeper in a game like that is quite bad. And Lloris there, I think he would have saved, I think, 1 or 2 of those goals that actually were scored last night if Lloris would have been there. And there you have it. I mean, those who wanted Lloris out, you got him out. And there you have Fraser Foster.
Yeah, and we have
it's hard
another
to
6
disagree.
weeks of him.
It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, I think that Foster, it's so clear to me, and it was clear to me before the injury even happened, that Lloris is a much better goalkeeper than Fraser Foster. No matter what mistakes Lloris is making week in, week out, Foster's just not good enough. I mean, all you need to do is shoot it low and hard either side of him, and it's a goal pretty much 9 times out of 10. So it's very frustrating that we're going to have to contend with him for the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. No Bentancur, no Bissouma for the foreseeable future. No backup left wing back as well. Perisic is going to have to ask to play every single game. So I don't know where we go from here this season, Elias, but thank you for coming on today.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Yeah.
No problem. We'll see you next time. Hopefully better occasions. Come on, you Spurs. Exactly. Azad Hamid with the members chat for 8 months. He says, guys, get ready to see Eric Dyer back in midfield. It's an option.
Oh, God. It's not an option. It's not an option. Oh, Dyer back in midfield. It'd be a disaster, in my opinion.
Would you take, in the Milan game, going 3-5-2 with Dyer in the third midfielder?
What and then playing who up in the back? Longley, Davis,
and Romero.
Needs must, I guess, but probably not. I mean, I just don't think Dyer's got the legs for midfield position anymore. I really don't.
Doesn't have the length for centre back either.
No,
to be
he doesn't.
Fair. But let's bring on our next guest. Come on then. Let's have it.
How you doing, Ben? How you doing, Sim?
You all right?
Yeah, not bad. I feel sorry for both of you for having to go to that game. I don't think our travelling fans deserved that, because it's a big effort travelling to away games, and
lucky
you get
for
that.
Sim, he didn't have to make the trip yesterday.
I got away with it.
Okay, so Ben, just you then, man, and all the travelling fans. It's not nice. It's not nice. So, yeah, I mean, I just. There's so much I want to say on this, but I think the last time I was on the show, I said that if we can just keep the team fit, I really think we can have a good second half of the season. And I stick by saying that. I wasn't going down the road of winning the league and whatnot. I was thinking more, a good cup run, maybe a potential FA Cup final and top 4 again. But for me now, it's all over. And it's not a pessimistic or a negative viewpoint. It's my realistic view of, if we're going to spend the rest of the season with Perisic as a left wing back who can't defend and hasn't got the legs for this, he's going to be running to the ground and he's going to have more bad games. To go to the San Siro without Højbjerg and Bissouma and Bentancur, there's no way we're winning that game. I mean, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of, do you know what? They're going to raise the game. They're going to go out there and do us proud and all that. I think now we're in deep trouble. Putting 2 kids in charge of the hardest, most important part of a team, the midfield, in the San Siro, the iconic Milan San Siro, in a Champions League game with the atmosphere like that. I mean, I just don't see it, guys. And Højbjerg's going to have to play every game, which means he'll be injured eventually. We're going to pick up more injuries because we've got less squad rotation. And at the end of the day, the season for me is over. If we can finish top 6, we've done well. Anything above that is a bonus now. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at as a club with the squad that we've got, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be detrimental, this Bentancur injury. And it's just like, all just comes at once, doesn't it, Stel? I mean, we're thinking like, maybe we can cope with one injury, but they all come at once. Hugo Lloris, Bissouma, Bentancur, Ryan Sessegnon. I mean, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking with you thinking how much we're going to miss Ryan Sessegnon. It's crazy.
It's because Perisic hasn't got the leg for the game, and that was my concern when we first signed him. I mean, I think, you know, like, look, you guys have seen my videos. I'm now putting this on fans who have accepted this. Like, fans have chosen this now as what they want. We had the chance to protest and take action, and just nowhere near enough did. So it's a bit flip-floppy and hypocritical of quite a lot of fans to then start being upset and disappointed by this, because this is what you've bought into now. This is what you've accepted.
Well, we didn't buy into Bentancur being ruled out for 6 months.
No, but you bought into a squad that lacks quality and depth. That's not you per se, Sim, but the fans who have accepted this as these outcomes are always going to happen in football, which is why you need to buy good players to build a squad. Longlay's stopgap, Danjuma's stopgaps, keeping Ben Davies on a new 3-year contract, Dyer not being sold, Sessegnon even being at the club even though he's injured. These players have no right being at a top 4 club, yet we accept it. We say that's okay. If you go back to Poch, when
what do you mean by the fans accepting it though? Not protesting?
Well, not if you continue to back this ownership and the decisions they make, then you're accepting what outcomes then occur. You're accepting their decisions.
What do you mean by accepting it though? Like, what have the fans done to accept Eric Dyer at centre back? What have the fans done to accept Ben Davies at left centre back? Because all I'm hearing from the majority of the fan base is that these players are not good enough.
Yeah, but they've done nothing about that.
What are they supposed to do?
One option is to protest. We had 100 people. We've got a fan base of how many?
Yeah, what's another option?
Another option is to stop buying the merch, stop buying food and drink in the stadium. Another option is to protest in the stadium. You know, you've been to a few away. You've been to quite a few away games this year. I've been to 1 or 2 with you. In the away stand, we're chanting, "We want Levy out." We want, and it's been picking up traction on social media. It's caused all the fan channels, the podcasts, the YouTubers to talk about it for the past 3-4 months. The biggest conversation has been Levy and Enoch. Like, you've done loads of shows on them. I've done shows on them. Even the channels that never really talk about this or touch this subject, they've all been doing it. But the conversation's great, but for what purpose has that served? There's no outcome to it. There's no action to the words that are being said. I'll give you an example. It's not a criticism. It's just an observation. When a fan, whoever he or she may be, says, I want a new chairman, but I'm not Levy out because they don't like the movement or whatever it may be. That's fine. Everyone's allowed their view. But if you want the chairman out, what action are you going to take as a fan to try and facilitate changing that chairman now? Of course, we don't have the final say. It's the owners and the chairman that have the final say on the positions of responsibility and who has what role in the club. But as fans, we got Nuno sacked. We got him sacked on that Man United game when we turned. That's why Conte came in. We have power, but we just don't exercise it. We don't choose to exercise taking any form of action to try and bring about change. So if you don't take action, then you're accepting it.
Wait a second, Stelios, because you're saying the fans forced change to get Nuno out, right, against that Manchester United game. How did they do that?
By chanting Levy out at 3-0.
Okay.
Levy
what have the Spurs fans been doing? What has the Spurs fans been doing for the last 3 or 4 away games?
But Ben, that's what I just said.
Yeah, so you can't go on one saying the fans forced Nuno out, but the fans aren't doing anything against Levy because they're doing the exact same thing.
Ben, I'm not talking about a small section of fans. The away fans are what? 10%, 5% of the stadium.
Fans, 3,000 fans.
Which is a percentage of a stadium, about 5% of the stadium. The protests outside the stadium was 100 fans. That's like 0.00001. In the main stadium, Tottenham, White Hart Lane, there is no action taken. Right? Now, I'm not forcing anyone to take action, and I'm not saying you should take action. What I'm saying is, if you don't take action, but then we spend every single week on every single season moaning about the manager, moaning about the tactics, complaining about specific players, complaining about Levy, complaining about Enoch. We've just become a club of whingers and moaners, but without any outcome to the things that we say. And that says
I think
to
it's
me,
very difficult in our
we're
home
just talking.
stadium. I think it's very difficult in our home stadium. It's hard to get
Why?
a few chants going, never mind Levy out chants. I think there are way too many people just coming for a day out. There are way too many people coming to their first game, or not real Spurs fans, and just coming, literally for a day out. They come from America, or they come from the UK, they come from anywhere. They go buy the merch in the Spurs store. Yes, against Manchester United, it was loud, but I've heard it loud on other occasions as well. But I think it's wrong to blame the fans.
It's not wrong to blame fans who've accepted it. I'm not blaming Spurs fans. I'm not blaming every single Spurs fan. I'm not doing that. I'm blaming the ones that have accepted the situation by taking no action. You say everyone's there for a day out. There's 45,000 season ticket holders. Mm-hmm. They're not there for a day out. The vast majority of fans in that stadium are season ticket holders. How many of them have done anything about this?
And how many of them are corporate season ticket holders that just want to come for their 3-course meals and this kind of stuff? I mean, a lot of season ticket holders as well, I know, that don't even go anymore. They don't even want to go to that stadium anymore. They don't want to see the football week in, week out.
5% of the stadium is corporate.
Yeah.
Right? The majority of fans in that stadium are regulars who live local to the stadium, the majority. And they have accepted this. Like, they have said, you know what? We will continue to support the way things are done at this club. And I don't have an issue with them taking that opinion. But where I do take issue is, if you're going to accept this, you can't suddenly be upset when things don't work out, because the decisions we're seeing by the owners are being reflected on the field of play. Like, I'll give you an example, guys. When, by the way, this is a good conversation to have, by the way. I think this is a good conversation to have. When Pochettino got sacked, every fan 2-3 years later said he wasn't backed, right? 2-3 years later, we've all said those 18 months where we didn't sign any players cost us, right? That wasn't on Poch. We then, after Mourinho got sacked, about a year later, we said, was he really backed? And why was he sacked before a cup final? That's not him. We all questioned why Nuno even got the job. And now we've got Conte. It's the same conversation again. We're now saying, why haven't we signed a centre-back under Conte? Why haven't we addressed the key issues under this manager? And why has he only got a 2-year contract? So it's a constant theme that keeps reappearing. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, do you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Let's just keep the same thing going on and on and on. Like, and for me, when I say things like, I can't blame Enoch and Levy anymore, because they're not under the kind of pressure that's going to force them to change their way. You know, for a chairman to come out for me and say, we've got big plans. We've got planning permission for a hotel. We're building residential homes. There's more to come. That's not what I want to hear as a fan. As a fan, what I really, really wanted to hear from the club when they responded to the trust, when Levy's done his interview recently and everyone's quoted his interview, I wanted to hear from the chairman of Tottenham Hotspur, guys, I'm sorry that things haven't gone how we wanted the last 3-4 years. I respect your opinion on the unrest that I am seeing and that's been fed back to me on social media. We're going to fix it. We've got a plan. We need 3-4 years, and our sole aim is to try and win the league or try and win the Champions League. And if they went out and bought players that we can all say, do you know what? That is a good signing. And we can see that the manager's really being backed. Even if we failed, it's impossible to complain, because we would all be in agreement that at least they gave it a bloody go. They genuinely gave it a go, and they said to us they were going to do this. But nothing like that, not even close, came out in anything the club put out. So for me, we've just accepted what he's come out and said, and it's like, all right, the show goes on.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that in a way, because I feel like Levy, when he came out and he put the blame on expensive mistakes essentially. He said, we're still hurting from the signings that we've made that have cost us financially, and but what he should have done is come out and just he said, look, I take full responsibility for how the last few years have gone, because it's totally down to the ownership about how the direction of the club over the last few years, pretty much ever since they gave 18 months of Pochettino and no signings. Since that point, the direction of the club has been in a basically in the mire. They don't really know what direction they're heading in, and I think he identified the wrong problem when he said it's expensive mistakes. That's not the problem. He should have been identified. It should have been how the hierarchy have dealt with footballing decisions ever since pretty much those, because for me, he can put the blame on and Ndombele didn't work out, Lo Celso didn't work out, but for me, the big reason, a big portion of the blame for me as to why those signings didn't work out is because of him, not because they're not good players, in my opinion. So I think he should have taken a lot more responsibility than he has done, as opposed to saying, well, look, we just signed the wrong players and we're still hurting from that. And I didn't think he identified the real problem, in my opinion.
I fully agree. There's nothing you've said that I can counter with or disagree with, and that's why I can't accept that. But look, I don't want to make this another Enoch Levy thing, but I do feel now that if ever things are going to change and we are going to have a squad, not just a starting 11 that's capable of going forward, we as fans need to just up our game on holding this ownership accountable. And the way we're doing it now, it doesn't work. There's a few things I just wanted to talk about the game yesterday, because obviously this is a football show as well. So first of all, Stellini, people that are saying Stellini in, Conte out, I agree with what the previous Eli said. Stellini is Conte's understudy. And just for the record, people that have got an issue with Conte's tactics, the 7 games previous to the Leicester game, we kept 5 clean sheets in 7 games. 5 in 7. That was playing Conte's tactics. So we can't pick and choose when we say tactics work, tactics don't, because 5 out of 7 games we kept a clean sheet. So the tactic does work. What happened yesterday, guys, and I spoke about it last show when I brought up some slides. Some people like the slides, some people don't. The shape, the discipline. I said discipline is so key no matter what system, what manager you've got. If players go out of shape, that is a discipline failure. Our discipline yesterday was diabolical. And do you know what's interesting? Tell me if this rings a bell. As an Inga in goal, Tanganga, Dyer, and Davies in the back 3. What game was that?
Sorry, say that again.
Dyer.
Gazzaniga in goal.
Oh,
Tanganga, Dyer, and Davies
Colchester.
in defence.
Colchester in the cup.
Yeah. So we've gone with that same, and that was a backup defence that lost to Colchester United. Fraser Forest to Gazzaniga, not much different, both not that great. And then we wonder why the defence was so appalling yesterday. It's the same defence that 3. Yeah, some do, Ben, beg your pardon, right? Some do wonder. So we can criticise tactics and formations and being overrun and all the usual things that we want to fire at the managers, but it's the same defence that lost 3 years ago to Colchester United. Ashmatic was talking about we should have squeezed up higher up the pitch. I don't think we could have, because if we squeezed up higher, you need one player to sit slightly back with pace that can recover in case they break through. And normally when I go to games, it's Emerson Royale that's that player. Whenever we push up and squeeze, it's normally Emerson that sits a bit back because he's got the pace. Well, he wasn't on the pitch. So now you're looking at which player can you keep in the back line with pace that can recover. None of them have got it. So I think, I don't disagree with what Ashmatic is saying, but I don't think we had players on the pitch that could have done that without exposing a lack of recovery at the back. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that went wrong yesterday, but those same mistakes will happen again and again and again until we truly fix the squad. And I think after 4 years, I don't think we have fixed the squad. And the one thing I will say to every fan who's got an opinion on Enoch, Levy, Conte, and whatever, everyone's opinion's valid. But why is it Antonio Conte has come to Tottenham and it's not working? Why? Why has he become a dinosaur the day he signed a contract for Tottenham? Why is his tactics suddenly redundant and useless the day he signs for Tottenham? Why did serial winner Mourinho only fail to win a trophy at Tottenham? Why did Pochettino have one of the best?
In Serie A as well, by the way, Mourinho.
I'm not surprised, Sim. I just wish fans just for a second just took a step back and said, "Do you know what? We can't keep hiring and firing managers. We can't keep doing this." And Paratici, sixth footballing director, still signing players that aren't good enough. Still signing players that maybe Paratici's got one arm tied behind his back as well. But I was gutted with yesterday's performance because for me, I came on your show and I said, I think we could go on a good second half of the season run. But like you said, Sim, I totally agree with you. What's worse than the loss is the injuries now we've got. And that is 100% going to bite us in the arse. Just like it bit Jose Mourinho when he lost Son and Kane. Just like it bit Pochettino when we were trying to win the league and then Vertonghen was out for a month. Then Kane was out for a month. Then they came back, then Alderweireld was out for a month. We've never, ever, 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 ever had a squad at Tottenham under this ownership, and maybe the previous ownership as well, where we can honestly look at the bench and say, it's okay, Bentancur's injured. It's okay, Basuma's injured. The bench will cover this. We just can't say that. And that comes down to a long-term recruitment plan and a strategy of backing a manager over a long period of time and never stopping that backing. And that's why we're in this mess. That's why we're now looking at, a concerning second half of the season as opposed to what could have been an exciting one only a week ago. But that's what I wanted to come on and say, Ben and Sim.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I completely agree with what you've just said. So I guess we just kind of have to stick it out for the rest of the season and a lot more rants and conversations to be had from now until the end of May. But thanks for coming on today, mate, and we'll speak to you next time.
See you later, Stel.
Yeah, I just want to say to both of you, I sent you some WhatsApp messages yesterday, so thank you for being understanding.
All right, no worries, Stel.
Speak to you soon.
I'll speak to you very soon, mate.
All right. Now we're definitely going to get some positivity coming in the next corner because something inside so strong. We got Barry here. Let me guess. We're close to the fourth. We're close to top four. We're in the last stages of the FA Cup. We're in the next round of the Champions League. We're going to Turkey.
And also, Emerson's stocks have never been higher.
Exactly.
Well, pretty much, boys. Yeah, that's about it.
All
yeah?
right. Barry, good to see you, mate. And,
No, look, guys. For everyone coming at me, don't ever put Emerson Royale's name in your mouth if you're going to slag him off. Because I'm sorry, Mr. Porro was Mr. Porro yesterday. Yeah? I'm not having this. It was his first game. He was supposed to be the answer. He was the answer to all our problems at right wing back.
But it was his first game.
Mark, come on, man. if we're going to go and drop a load of money on a player and he's going to be signing in the summer, we can't then come and say, it was his first game. But anyway.
But we can, because it was his first game.
If we would have signed him earlier in the window, more time to bed in, things could have been different. Look at Lisandro Martinez's debut for Man United. He's one of the best defenders in the league at the moment.
Yeah, I'm only having a laugh, right? So look, but I'm just saying.
Can't joke about these things, Barry.
We can, because look the meltdown, right? Last weekend, everything's amazing. This weekend, oh my God, we're going to finish sixth. We're going to finish lower. We're going to Milan with no midfielders. Bentancur's injured. The world's crumbling on our heads. Everyone's just like miserable, and I just want everyone to be happy, man. Come on, man.
But the world is crumbling on our heads, Barry.
No, it's not, Sim. It's not crumbling. It's not crumbling. Look, my criticism yesterday, Bentancur, he's having gas and air on the pitch. Get on the stretcher, man. Why are you walking off? You know, this is nonsense what he did yesterday. I know it's adrenaline. I know he was probably thinking, oh, I'm going to try and whatever. But nah, man, he should have just got on that stretcher, because what he was doing by walking off was not going to help him either way. He could have just laid on the stretcher, carried off. 8 months might be 7 months. 7 months is better than 8 months. Look, I'm trying to find some positives here, right? But look, I think
deep, Barry, dig deep.
Not much of a positive.
He's
trying his best.
I'm trying my best, man. I can't see.
Barry,
I can't have
look, I
Bentancur
got
coming
positive.
on here.
It could be 7 months.
Exactly. It could be 6.5 months. It could be 6 months and 2 days. Come on, guys. Look, I can't see Grandpa. When Grandpa comes on here and he's saying we're gonna get sixth, I can't have Grandpa being upset, man, either. And you boys are being upset. Everyone that's come on has been upset. So we got to finish on a positive, guys. So you're right. We are still 4 points off third or second or wherever we are. We're still in the Champions League. We're still in the FA Cup. Come on, boys. We can't go on this roller coaster every week. We just need to just get through it together, man. Just get through it together.
Well,
That's
how
what
to
we need
tell?
to
All
do.
right, give me a pathway to survive without Bentancur. Tell me how you see it.
Well, I said it yesterday on the pump up. It's time for people to step up. Skippy to step up. Sar to step up. Whoever else is there. Who we got left in midfield? I don't even know.
That's it.
Harry Winks to come back.
Get the band back together. Recall Ndombele. Recall Lo Celso. Recall Wings. We recall them all.
Yeah, get Harry out the window and get Cranshaw and Crouch at the phone.
Exactly.
But look, we are at our bare bones, right? And I don't think anyone could have predicted kind of what would have happened yesterday. I mean, we were in control of the game, and then all of a sudden it was like the implosion of all implosions, right? So I just don't think. Look, I rewatched the game. I think, everyone's saying Forster, it went either side of him. Look, most of the goals went into the corner. I think obviously the first goal that Leicester scored, could Perisic have done more? He probably could have come out a little bit more and let the ball hit him. I don't understand these days why modern day footballers have to put their arms behind their back and turn their head away. Just let it hit you, man. What's it going to do? It's going to hurt for a little bit, right? But you've got the chance of stopping a goal. Dyer stepping off. I mean, he gave so much space that, they could have parked a car in between them. And look, he got a hat-trick yesterday in assists. Obviously, assists and mistakes. But look, it just happens sometimes. And I think we need to realise the other week, Everton went and beat Arsenal. This league is tough, man. There's teams down the bottom. West Ham down the bottom. They could have beaten Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea and Liverpool, we know how bad a season they're having. Look, man, it's tough. It's not going to be easy for anyone. Man United are still drawing against Leeds again. So it's not easy. And I think we just need to realise, yes, it's an opportunity because of the teams around them that drop points. Newcastle haven't won in 6.
I think one in 6 or something.
Yeah, 1 in 6, and they've drawn the others, so that they're not doing well. United kind of are stumbling. Man City is stumbling. Arsenal is stumbling. It's everything is up for grabs here, and I just think that we've got what have we got? We got 15 games left, so plus FA Cup, plus Champions League. So we've probably got another how many games left in the Champions League? We've got another 6-8 games in the Champions League.
I hope so.
We got another 4 or 5 games in the FA Cup. So look, we got like 25 games left that we just need to put everything into, and I think we just need to be positive. I know some people like Box Office came on yesterday. He lost his mind and dropped his mic and disappeared. But come on, man, we need to be positive, please, everyone. I can't handle this fan base being so negative and so upset. Look, it is what it is. We're still in the competitions, and look, it might benefit us. Look what happened, like you said, Ben. Lightning striking twice. We beat Man City, we lost to Burnley, we got top 4. We beat Man City, we lost to Leicester, who, in all due respect, are a better team than Burnley, and we go on a run, we get top 4. So this is what we need to remember, and we've got more games to do it. So
we've got more games, but we got less players.
Well, have we got less players? Because we actually, we've got We've got players that we didn't have last year, so they're going to have to step. We didn't have Dan Juma, we didn't have Richarlison, so they're going to have to step up. Kulu needs to pull his finger out. The whole front three yesterday were shocking. They didn't put any influence on the game. But look, we are down to the bare bones. We do need to put people in positions that they're not used to, and just kind of get through and muddle our way through it. But what happens if we go to Milan on Tuesday and we go and win, or we get a draw? Everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, we've done it. We get back to White Hart Lane and then we smash them." Because Højbjerg is back. Remember, I don't know, man, but I just think that we just got to be positive. I can't be anything but positive. I really can't. And you know me, got to be positive. We know the problems. Nothing's changed until the summer, but we just got to be happy, man. We got to be positive.
All right. We'll leave it there, Barry, on a
Come on,
positive
Ben.
note.
Believe, man. Come on, Ben. Get on the train.
I'm trying, man. I'm sure once a few beers have gone down my neck in Milan, I'm sure I'll get back to you.
Oh, you bet he will.
Yeah. You have to, guys. Come on. You can't go out there with the mindset like, oh, we're gonna get smashed. Milan are in the mud. So
what though, Barry? Every time the fan base are feeling like this, going on a trip like this to Milan or up to City or whatever, we always seem to pull out a result, don't we?
We do, and that's what I mean. There's something inside so strong, people, and we need to believe it. And if you need to go and listen to that song, go and listen to that song. Relax, watch the rest of the games. Look, Man United and Man City drop points again today. Liverpool get smashed on Monday.
No, we can't have City dropping points, Barry.
we can, Sim, because Arsenal are going to drop. You know, Arteta's crying now about lines for VAR. He's going down the old Pep route of crying about everything now. So, look, you're right. We probably don't want them to drop points, but Arsenal are going to go on that run. They're going to bottle it. Everything is going to be all right. In a couple of months, we're all going to be sitting going, we're going to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final. We're going to Istanbul. We're getting top 4. Arsenal choke the title. Come on. Get on board the train, people.
All right.
Choo-choo. See you later, Barry. Thanks for coming
See you
on.
later,
And
boys.
loving
Come
the
on, you
positivity
Spurs.
anyway. Come on, you Spurs. And I think that is all we have time for today. Player ratings and 5 takeaways coming your way very soon. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.